It started with the ceiling fan. The old house Eleanor Hart inherited from her uncle had been mostly untouched for years. Dust blanketed every surface. Cobwebs filled the corners. The fan in the hallway groaned when it moved, just once, briefly, then stopped, even though the power wasn't on. Eleanor didn't scare easily. As a true crime podcaster, she had explored old jails, mental asylums, and even an abandoned slaughterhouse. But this house, tucked deep in the sleepy town of Millridge Hollow, felt different. It watched her. The house had been in her family for over a century, passed down through quiet generations who left little behind. Her uncle, Edward Hart, was the last to live there. He had died mysteriously, no sign of trauma, no illness. Just gone. The house had no electricity and barely any cell service. Still, Eleanor had agreed to stay there for a week, hoping to record something spooky for her Halloween podcast special. She got more than she asked for. On the second night, the voices started. She was unpacking audio equipment in the living room when she heard a faint whisper above her head. At first, she thought it was the wind, but the voice was clear. "Are you listening?" She froze, heart racing. It came again, muffled.
Soft. Childlike.
"Don't forget me." Eleanor grabbed her handheld recorder and pointed it upward. "Hello? Is someone there?" Nothing. She climbed the stairs, each step creaking under her weight. At the top of the hallway was a wooden ladder leading to the attic. The door was slightly open. Eleanor climbed up slowly, phone light cutting through the darkness. The attic was empty. Dust floated in the beam of her flashlight. Broken trunks and crates sat untouched for years. A rocking chair stood near a round attic window, and it was moving slightly. She stepped closer. That's when she saw the small, hand-carved music box resting on the floor. It was open, and it was playing even though the mechanism was broken. Eleanor took the music box downstairs. She examined it, recording everything for her podcast. On the bottom was an engraving. "For Lilith, may your dreams never fade." That night, she researched her family tree. No Lilith Hart appeared. No mention in census records, no photos. Just a name scratched into a box left in an attic no one entered for 50 years. Around midnight, she played back the audio she'd recorded. And she heard it again. Not the whisper. A scream.
Short. Faint.
Female. Her breath caught in her throat. Rewinding again and again, she could hear the scream fade into crying and then a whisper. She locked me in. Determined to learn the truth, Eleanor visited the town's historical society the next day. She met with a quiet archivist named Claire who agreed to help her dig through old files. 3 hours in, Claire gasped. She held up a yellowed page from the local newspaper, dated 1928. Child vanishes from Hart Estate. No trace of 7-year-old Lilith. The article described Lilith as the adopted daughter of Eleanor's great-grandmother, Rosalind Hart. Lilith was last seen playing near the attic stairs. Police searched the grounds but found nothing. The case went cold. Claire looked up, eyes wide. They never mentioned her in any other records. Eleanor nodded slowly. It's like they erased her. Back at the house, Eleanor brought the music box to the attic again. She placed it where she found it. "Lilith, are you here?" she whispered. The music box shut by itself. Then, from the darkness of the attic, came the voice again. "She never let me out. But now you can." Eleanor stumbled backward and fell down the attic ladder. The hatch slammed shut above her. She lay in the hallway, gasping for air. When she looked at the attic door again, Eleanor didn't sleep at the motel. The scream, the whisper, the missing attic door, all played on loop in her mind. She replayed the recording she had captured just before fleeing the house. It wasn't just a whisper this time. There was a second voice.
Deeper.
Angrier. She must stay. She must stay. The voices were fighting. Lilith was crying out for help. But something else, something older, was trying to keep her locked away. The house didn't just hold memories. It held prisoners. The next morning, Eleanor drove back to the Hart Estate. Fog had crept over the hills like a ghostly veil. The house stood silent, but not empty. She could feel the difference. The walls were watching. She brought with her a printed copy of the 1928 newspaper article, her recorder, a crowbar. The attic hatch had vanished. But Eleanor was determined. She climbed back to the top floor, stared at the spot where the hatch should have been, and pushed the ceiling with the crowbar. Nothing. Then, she whispered, "Lilith, I believe you." The floorboards creaked behind her. She turned, but no one was there. Then slowly, the attic door reappeared. Dust fell as it lowered into place, the ladder extending with a groan like the house was waking up. She climbed. This time, the attic was different. The window was boarded shut. The rocking chair faced the wall. The temperature had dropped. Her breath fogged the air. The music box sat where she'd left it, but now was closed. She approached it carefully and opened it. Instead of music, a voice whispered from within, "Look behind the wall." Eleanor turned her flashlight across the room. There it was, faint scratch marks in the wooden planks of the back wall. She approached, heart thudding, and pried one of the boards loose with the crowbar. The smell hit her first.
Damp. Decay.
Something long dead. She pulled more boards free until a hidden space was revealed. A tiny room, no larger than a closet. Inside was a tattered blanket, a cracked porcelain doll, and the skeletal remains of a child. Her chest tightened. She fell to her knees. "Lilith." Tears welled in Eleanor's eyes as she whispered, "I'm so sorry." She reached for the doll, and suddenly, the air turned bitter cold. The attic door slammed shut behind her. A growl echoed through the beams. And then, a figure stepped out of the shadows. A woman.
Pale.
Dressed in a 1920s gown stained with dust and rot. Her face was sunken, her eyes lifeless. "She disobeyed," the ghost hissed. "She talked to them, the ones beneath." Eleanor backed away. "You're Rosalind Hart." The ghost nodded, tilting her head like a broken marionette. "She wasn't my blood. She brought darkness. She had to be locked away." The attic shook. Objects flew. The music box played distorted notes. The doll's eyes rolled open. Lilith's voice cried out, "I just wanted to go outside." Eleanor raised her voice. "She was just a child. You tortured her." The ghost screamed, an unearthly, shattering sound, and flew toward Eleanor. Eleanor dropped the recorder and grabbed the music box. "You're not in control anymore," she shouted. She opened the music box and held it high. The melody shifted, warped, and the shadows recoiled. Rosalind screamed again, but this time her form cracked, like porcelain breaking apart. "No." She was cursed, they told me. She would ruin us all. With a final shriek, Rosalind's ghost shattered into dust, pulled into the shadows of the secret room. Silence returned. Then, from the doll, a soft, gentle whisper. "Thank you." The attic door creaked open again. Eleanor stumbled down, music box still in hand. She barely made it outside before collapsing on the porch. When she opened her eyes again, the sun had risen, and a raven sat